Mic on.
Sounds good. What's going on? How's everyone doing?
Good.
You guys are good to go.
Robert, you're the first one in.
Am I first on there?
Okay. Go ahead, Joy. We're all being polite.
Are we good? Okay. Hey, Jake. My question is about the NCAA ruling that allows for seniors such as yourself, if you want, to return for another year of eligibility. And it looked like you might not even have a season, and so you would get one more season. Now you could technically have 2 seasons. What are your thoughts on that whole process and what the NCAA decided and you know, what that means to the senior class?
I think that's one of the things that the NCAA did right by a lot of the players across the country. I think that giving everyone a extra option to play that year, whether it's at your school that you're at or at another school, I think that's very important. And I would just say that is something like a safety net for anyone who could get injured during this type of year, or anyone who maybe is thrown off by the whole coronavirus pandemic and doesn't feel like playing. They have the option to sit out and play next year. So I think that's very important.
Has there been any discussion of, you know, everybody's going to make their own decision. There might be, you know, some people are going to declare for draft. Some people are just going to be done with college football. You know, how do you think, you know, it's a really big senior class. You guys have been around forever. Now you all have the chance to be around for 2 seasons. You know, have you guys discussed it, or is it just kind of individual guys will do what they want to do?
I mean, originally before the Big Ten announced that we're playing another or playing again or starting it back up, basically, it was more trying to get guys to return and come back and play that senior year with everyone together and not breaking up that senior class like you're talking about. And I think we have a really strong senior class, so it was important to a lot of us. But now that we're having a season, I think it's kind of just it's up to that individual person, and I think I think it could create for another very strong senior class the next season, but it's just kind of on an individual basis, like you said, a guy's going to the draft or just maybe even being done with football.
And for you individually, I mean, you know, you wouldn't be here right now were it not for the knee injury in you know 3 years ago. So, you know, do you have any thoughts personally on, you know, what you would plan to do after this season?
I mean, it kind of just depends. It depends on I mean, obviously you always plan on having a great year, but kind of just depends on how it goes, you know. I mean, injuries are a part of the game, and different scenarios could play out, and who knows, I could see me in orange and blue again next year. But you could also, I mean, maybe I'll be able to pursue my dream playing in the NFL next year as well. So I'm not 100% sure. We'll make that decision when the time is right for that.
Okay, thanks, Jake.
For sure.
Jake, just to follow up on that, not to belabor the point, but just what's it mean for you guys that are NFL draft prospects that you have a fall season?
Oh, I mean, I think it's huge. It allows you an opportunity, I think, to compete like in bowl games as well, Big Ten championship, and I think it's just a great opportunity. And we're also grateful that the Big Ten reconsidered, and a lot of the athletic directors were able to come up with a great plan. But it's big because it allows you to play in those Senior Bowl games and like potential combine, potential pro days as well, without with getting like a full prep for that as well. So I think it's huge.
So what's your reaction, Jake, that you just get to play in October is the thought? Obviously there's work to do to get there, but what's it mean for you guys that does this feel more legitimate to you guys?
Yeah, it does feel more legitimate, and it seems like the Big Ten is there. It seems like it was a unanimous decision, so it seems like everyone's on board, and it's full steam ahead unless like we have some serious major changes. But right now, I think we're all pretty excited, and we're looking forward to playing come October 24th.
Jake, what'd you do the last couple of weeks when there were games going on Saturday? Were you watching those games? And tell me your thoughts as you're watching those games.
Yeah, I was tuned in on most of the college games. A lot of the big ones: the Duke, Notre Dame, Clemson, Wake Forest. A little bit of the Iowa State game. To be honest, I think it was good for us to see that because a lot of them looked a little bit sloppy. Like you saw a lot of drops from different wide receivers and miscues with quarterbacks, and I think that's something that we can learn from, like as a unit, because you can get that better preparation with your your receivers and your quarterback, get that timing down, maybe offensive line communication, different things like that can help with getting rid of those miscues.
I know before this last weekend, you kind of knew it was coming, that you were going to get to play. But before that, watching games, we were kind of mad. Was it upsetting to watch it because you at that point, a couple of weeks ago, you didn't know you were going to play?
Yeah, it was pretty disappointing. I just think it was possible. Maybe. I mean, I don't have all the information, but it was just disappointing not to be able to play. The Big Ten made their decision based off information that they had. With in light of new information, they were able to change that. So that's great.
What are your emotions since you missed some games last year? Coming back, it's going to be a longer break maybe than you wanted to have. How you feel? How excited are you to get back out there?
It's just I'm really excited. It's to have it taken away and then like given back to you just makes you appreciate it that much more, especially when you have other teams playing and like friends that you have playing as well. So it's I think it's super important.
Last thing, who helped you get through all this? I mean, this is like you said, up and down, up and down. Don't know what's gonna. Who are you talking to mostly? I mean, I assume teammates, but tell me who kind of really helped you get through the whole deal.
You kind of hit on it. Like obviously you talk to your parents and you tell them like how you feeling, but I'd say teammates and just other people that are going through it as well. Like we're all of us teammates who are going through the same thing, and there's a lot of stuff that's going on that's worse than what we like. People could be fighting for their lives from the coronavirus, and we're worried about playing a football game and worried about playing football, which seems a little bit minuscule compared to like the bigger picture, but it is very important to us. So in the same breath, it's just using your teammates and using people that are also going through it. It's very important, and it's I think that I use them a lot to get through it.
Thanks, Jake.
Mm-hmm.
Jake, to add on to kind of the limbo idea, just can you talk about some guys that maybe kept this team together, kept this senior class together? Because I'm sure you saw, whether it was on social media or wherever it was, guys at other Big Ten schools just opting out and saying, "Hey, I'm going to go train for the draft. I'm not playing if you're not playing in the fall." It didn't seem like you guys had that. And could you talk about some of the guys that kind of maybe kept this group together and at least kept the faith that you might be able to play at some point?
I think it was just kind of like us as a collective senior class. It was more of like all of us together. And I mean, of course, you had your outliers of people that were considering doing that, and people that like even just with the uncertainty of how the decision making was in the Big Ten, it's hard to put your faith in something that's kind of been back and forth, it seemed like. And that's nobody's fault, and it's kind of just the world we're living in right now. But it was just being together and as a unit deciding that we were going to go in a certain way.
And lastly, my next question is just on playing in an empty stadium. I saw you watched games on Saturday. Some of them are just played in an empty stadium. And your thoughts on having to basically kind of create your own emotion and create your own momentum and create your own adrenaline when games start, when there's no fans in the stands and there's really no, there's going to be no sound, possibly no atmosphere. How do you guys approach just kind of creating your own momentum and getting yourself ready to play?
I think that it kind of has to be you have to be self-motivated, and I think we have a lot of guys that are like that. And whether you got to change up your routine a little bit, it is going to be different, but at the same time, you're still competing at a really high level, and if you're not able to prepare for that, then we've played games, there's been different games where there haven't been a ton of fans in the stands just from weather and having Thanksgiving break when all the students leave. There's been different games where it's been pretty quiet in the stands, so I don't think it's going to be as big of a factor as people think.
Thanks, Jake. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Jake, just to follow up on that, the NBA has had virtual fans and stuff, and the MLB has their automated sound. How would you feel about the Big Ten doing something like that inside the stadiums?
You're saying crowd noise?
Yeah.
I honestly, it wouldn't bother me. It really wouldn't bother me. I don't really feel strong about it either way. I think playing music is great. I'm all about that, but crowd noise doesn't really bother me that much.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jake, thanks for doing this. It sounds like over the summer, you guys, a bunch of you guys on the team, I guess, kind of got into golf and took up golf pretty often. What was that like in the summer? What did that mean to you guys to be able to get out there and do that?
It was a good way to pass the time and do stuff that was relatively COVID safe, so to speak, I guess. But it was something that we could do together, and I'll definitely do it more past this pandemic and different things like that. I really love it. And James McCourt, our kicker, he really got me into it. He's a good golfer, and Doug Kramer, we all played a ton. Brandon Peters as well. It was a fun time.
How much golf did you do before this summer in your life?
Not a lot. I'll be honest. I was pretty bad at the beginning of the summer. I'm still pretty bad, but it was much better than how we started.
Palcho had the same response. He said his words were terrible, absolutely terrible. Can you give me a quick scouting report on maybe the top 3 guys in your golf group? What do you see out of them?
I would say on our team, you got, I think McCourt's pretty clear one. I haven't played with Matt Robinson, but I've heard he's a good golfer. I don't know. I'd say it's a toss-up for third place. I can't think of anyone else at the moment.
Is there anyone who's not out there on the team that you want to get out there? Palcho said Kendrick Green.
Kendrick Green would be interesting. That'd be a funny one. Honestly, I don't know. I can't think of anyone right now.
Thanks, Jake.
Mm-hmm.
You were there for McCourt's hole-in-one, right?
I was not there, actually. I didn't play that Saturday, unfortunately. I missed it.
So you think it's legit?
What?
Sorry, my dog's barking in the background here.
Okay.
Is it legit, or was it one of those hole-in-ones that happens when nobody's there?
No, there was witnesses for sure. I'm pretty sure Brandon was there. Brandon Peters was there. So next time you guys get him on here, you can ask him about that one.
Hey, Jake, I know practice is different right now. You're not able to in pads or anything like this, but just how do you feel about the defense you guys have coming back, and what's going to be the key for you guys without any non-conference games to kind of hit the ground running?
I think it's going to be just sticking to good communication and just continue to build our chemistry that we kind of already have. We have a lot of, like, just about everyone returning except our Mike Daly last year. But we have a lot of guys that have played a lot, and our back seven especially, and then our guys up front. We got some newer guys, and we're set up for a big year.
I know it's early, but you got a couple guys coming in at D tackle, Roderick Perry and Chinadu Udoga. What do you think of those guys, and what do you need from those guys with Tymir and Jamal gone?
I mean, I watched a little tape on both of them. I think they're both really good players. Even just from a stature standpoint, they're big dudes. I think it would help to get a little bit more acclimated to the Big Ten, just because they come from different conferences. But I mean, I'm sure they'll get plenty of that against our offensive line. That's a pretty seasoned class. So come fall camp, come a little bit more in depth into camp, they'll get a lot of that action.
Thanks, Jake.
I think Tony and Sydney mentioned before camp got shut down that there was a pretty good feeling around the team. I mean, things just seemed to flow really well. Did you notice that too? And maybe how do you pick that back up after a month?
Really, it's just I mean, no one's completely like forgetting about football and just not doing anything football related after that. And we even before like the season announced that we were still able to do some different like 7-on-7 work for the Big Ten and different things like that. And you still have there was just no like miscues. There's not a lot of miscues mentally like in the past. So everyone's on the same page, knows what everyone's doing for the most part, and everything's communicated very well. So I'd say that's the biggest difference. And we just got a lot. We're a lot deeper and we have more talent too. So.
Are you guys able to play faster, if that makes sense, or maybe just mentally faster because of that? And just, I mean, it doesn't seem like there's a drop off at all.
Yeah, and that just comes to everything too. Like if you know a position better, you're able to play faster, and that's why you see maybe a guy that's like just a random example like out there. If someone's could be more athletic than a person, even if they don't know the defense, they're not going to play fast. Where you have someone that might be a lesser athlete but knows it better, can play faster, so to speak. So.
Thanks, Jake.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jake, can you kind of summarize what the difference has been for you moving to the Mike and a Lovie Smith type system? I think a lot of people would mistakenly think you're just moving a couple of feet over in your position, but I think there's a lot more that goes with that. Can you kind of summarize what it's taken for you to understand what it means to be the Mike, especially in Lovie's scheme?
It's definitely a step up. Like essentially all the communication will start with me, and all of our different like checks and how everything works basically starts through me. And so it's kind of a step up mentally, but it's not something that it's completely foreign, because I mean, different times where like in practice, it wasn't necessarily like me and Daly were with each other every single play. Occasionally I would have to make a couple close our defense or make things a certain way and make some different communication. And we're always communicating the whole time too. So even if our other backers need to help me out every now and then, that can happen as well.
Thanks, Jake.
Mm-hmm.
Jake, as one of the leaders on the team, how do you use social media kind of as a platform, personally, and how do you feel like the team should use it?
That's a good question. I try to not mix a lot of this is my personal preference. Unless you feel very, very, very strongly about a certain subject, I don't I don't think it should be discussed over social media. I think team information should always be kept within the team and never been out on social media. I think even sometimes different political stances, I think, should be kept to yourself a little bit on social media. I mean, just depending on, but for like social justice movements, I'm all for that. I think that should be completely discussed, and that needs to be a platform that we can all share our feelings about. But I'd say very strongly about if there's anything that like is not public knowledge, it should never be put out and made public knowledge, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. Thanks.
Hey, Jake, one last thing. If it's a solid no, everybody's good, then I apologize for asking, but is everybody good in your area with Sally and the hurricane that's going on there, or have you kind of had to double check with everybody on how they're doing?
I mean, to be honest with you, I haven't really heard much about anyone being afraid down there, so
Okay.
I didn't even know the name of the hurricane, to be honest, until you just said it. I would say my family's not scared by any means, so
Right.
I think we're doing all right. So.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, I appreciate you asking.
They're all good. Ask them if they're good.
You guys good?
Yeah, thanks, Jake.
All right,
Jake.
appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys good?
Yeah, do you know next time we'll get Lovey, Brett?
I do not know about Lovey. We'll take the weekend off from media stuff and circle back next week.
Okay.
I would imagine we would do camp, but that doesn't start until I think the reports are like the 28th or 29th or something.
Right.
So
Right.
next week might be a little light, but we'll try to keep getting you guys something at least every couple days.
Appreciate it. See you, man.
Cool.
Weekend.
All right. You too. See you.